What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of the BuiBros Football Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Quinn Bowie, and I cheer for the LA Chargers. Across from me, my brother Brandon.
And I cheer for the Minnesota Vikings. On today's episode, we're going to be doing a little game with each other. There's two. There's a would you rather, and then there's a what's more likely scenario. We'll also get to a little quick recap of maybe some Chargers news from the week and some Vikings news from the week, and then that'll be the whole episode for you.
Right. So, I do have to first mention, because we're getting real close now. We're, as of recording right now, 9 days away from the NFL draft, and it's getting really exciting. It's like the countdown to Christmas almost. The NFL does a good job making it a spectacle, and 9 days from now.
Yeah, it's going to be super exciting. I was kind of hoping that our podcast next week would be like in the middle, like, after day one or something like that, but we'll have one kind of just after the whole thing. So that'll be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Next week, we'll talk about more draft stuff, I assume. But, yeah, as for Viking stuff this week, I just had like two little points, regarding the draft as well, is
Right.
that our GM, he came out and discussed that they don't just have one quarterback that they're hoping to find. There's not just like one guy out there, and obviously there's some GM speak to that, but he said that they are in love with multiple guys at multiple price points. So, if they don't get that guy at that, they still like this other guy at this value. And so that's kind of like just a reassuring thing. It seems like they're just definitely going to get a quarterback.
It sounds like a whole lot of GM speak to me. I mean, I don't know how you take it, but hearing that first, it sounds like, hey, I'm happy with the price for 2, 3, or 4.
Mm-hmm.
There's already such a wide array, and especially with some of the draft smoke going on where some quarterbacks are falling. You sometimes get Jaden Daniels down there at 4. Yeah, any of the 4. Or any of the 3, I guess.
Yeah.
No Caleb Williams for you.
There's a lot to say, hey, we're not desperate, so don't expect us to go too high on our price. But at the same time, like he talks a lot about how he needs to take that shot, and the accountability that comes with it. If it doesn't work, that's on him. And then he said, if it does work, that's on the scouts, like they've done a good job. So he'll own the failure, but he's going to take some sort of shot. Like, you need to take a shot in this league to stay competitive. And so it was also exciting to hear that as well. But like I said, they like a guy here, they like a guy there. We'll see what it is. They're said to have lots of competition in trading up for one of those guys, but
right.
We'll
and taking a shot, this is the draft class to do. So, a lot of hype built around initially 3 top quarterbacks, but now JJ McCarthy in the mix, the top 4 QBs. Now it's a great time to take a shot. What else happened with the Vikings?
So last thing, it didn't really happen to the Vikings this week, but I heard it was talked about this week, which I haven't really seen much of it talked about, is that TJ Hawkinson, because he tore up his knee toward the very end of the season last year, that he might miss the first 4 weeks of the regular season this year. Which,
really?
Yeah, because it takes time to get the surgery, I guess. I remember him getting the surgery about a month after. I think they have to let the swelling go down before they can get into the knee and go in there and repair. But I was kind of sad. I was upset because that guy's so electric and so fun to watch that it was kind of like, damn, okay, he's got, he's possibly out. And this was unconfirmed. This wasn't from the team or anything like that. I'm pretty sure it was just somebody who said that they talked to somebody, and that's what the word seemed like. So we'll see how that goes, but hopefully he's back, week 1, but also hopefully he's back when he's ready to be back. But that was just kind of the news that I had heard.
Yes, no, let's just hope it remains rumor, right? And it doesn't get confirmed by the team, because as you mentioned, Hawk's electric when he's out there. He'll only benefit the potential rookie quarterback that you have playing this year. So I hope, again, that remains to be a rumor. On the Chargers front, not a lot of big news going on, but Jim Harbaugh and offensive coordinator Greg Roman, they let the fans in a little bit to their living lifestyle right now, where they're living in RVs right there in Southern California, I believe Huntington Beach, right by the water. They both have their RVs out there and just living the simple life, wanting to get to work, come home, watch a little bit of Joe Dirt. Jim Harbaugh has a DVD of Joe Dirt there. Him and G-Ro, that's what he's calling Greg Roman, seem to have a pretty great connection over there. But there are a couple quotes that came out of the video that the Chargers social media team put out, where Greg Roman, winning in football, is there anything like it? Jim Harbaugh comes back. It's cured more ills than penicillin. Nice. And that is a known scientific fact. Right? Absolute certainty. And yes, I think that the Chargers winning a lot of football games could cure a lot of ills for many fans, and myself included. But what was particularly interesting, and I actually had to rewind this part a couple times, there was a moment where Greg Roman, the two of them are sitting on their lawn chairs right outside of one of the RVs, and Greg Roman talks about their days where they worked together at Stanford. He's like, we kind of did the opposite of everybody when we were at Stanford, alluding to the fact that that's part of the reason why they were so successful. And Jim comes back, he's just counterculture, building that counterculture. And it got me thinking that everybody, and myself included, wants this new shiny toy wide receiver when it comes to the draft. Because the league is this pass forward league, it's the high scoring, heavy pass league. The running back position has been devalued over the last few years. But everybody's, there are a few people who are touting the fact that Jim Harbaugh is going to do Jim Harbaugh things when it comes to building the Chargers, and then that's building in the trenches. And it's right there in front of us. This is kind of what he's done. Counterculture. Let's continue doing what we do best. Bring Greg Roman and his running scheme and just run it down their throats, be the bigger, tougher, badder team. And in a league where it's a passing league, this seems pretty counterculture, that counterintuitive bit there. Got me thinking, again, we believe in Harbaugh. Whatever happens in the draft, I'm going to be excited and looking forward to the future, but that's something that caught my attention this past day.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. I just want to ask a question here, because I remember them talking about them living as like neighbors, down wherever they're living.
Right. Yeah.
But I never saw a video of them doing that. So in the video, you can see their RVs and you can see them living out there. Is that how it is?
Yeah.
Are they super dope RVs? Because I remember thinking, oh, they're slumming it. And then I was like, these dudes are rich. You can get nicer RVs than my house. You can get the coolest things out there. And I was wondering if they live in like the coolest ones, or if you could see much of that.
Yeah, no, you could definitely see. I mean, so there is a difference between Greg Roman's and Harbaugh's. Greg Roman's is much fancier, much larger than Harbaugh's RV. Not to say that Harbaugh has a crappy old RV, but it is still nice. But compared side by side, there is absolutely a difference there.
Okay, I gotta look at that video because I want to see those things.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. The more that I see of Jim Harbaugh, the more that I'm buying into it, and who knows? But if you're still with us, thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification, the thumbs up. It really helps the channel out. Going into the next segment here, which is what's more likely. All right, Brandon and I have come up with a couple scenarios where we are going to ask each other and debate what's more likely. So Brandon, why don't we start with you? What's scenario number 1?
Okay, you're a little bit biased here, but what is more likely for this upcoming season? Is it more like, so I'll just say that I would guess currently that the Chiefs are the favorite to win the Super Bowl, but
right,
without looking at any odds, nothing like that, just your own opinion, is it more likely that a non-Chiefs AFC team wins the Super Bowl or an NFC team wins the Super Bowl?
Oh, okay. A non-Chiefs AFC team. So let's just list who are some of the competitors. Of course, we have to say Baltimore.
Yeah, 100%.
We have to say the Bengals with the healthy Joe Burrow. Maybe not the Bills. Maybe not the Bills.
Bills. Yeah, we'll see that.
The Texans are everybody's favorite right now. The Texans are the darling team of the NFL.
We'll see how it all meshes there, right?
Okay, and we could go down the list and make an argument for many of the teams, but off the top of my head, those are the big ones without being a homer pick. I think we have to work there, and I know we will work there. Is it going to happen in one season like it has in the past? I'm not going to put all the eggs in that basket there. When you get to the NFC, so you got the Niners.
Yeah.
Right? The regular season Cowboys, but again, the regular season. The Eagles look ready to reload. Right? The Niners and the Eagles. Okay. Right off that, I am going to say I'm going to stay with the AFC. I really am. And I was going between Baltimore and the Niners. And what it comes down to is Lamar Jackson versus Brock Purdy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Brock Purdy is great in that system. Kyle Shanahan does a fantastic job with any quarterback that's out there. But I find it peculiar when there are the rumors of, the Niners are looking to get Tom Brady. The Niners are looking to get Kirk Cousins. They put the feelers out there for some of these veteran quarterbacks for one reason or another, and I believe there is some truth to that. I mean, there was the truth with Tom Brady that they did reach out. So
I also heard this past week that it was should the Niners trade Brandon Ayuk to the Steelers for Russell Wilson, and I was like, that's such a weird scenario there. I don't know. But anyways, I had heard that. So just to your point, there always seems to be this other quarterback in the mix with the Niners. Even though Brock Purdy has kind of proved himself, but it's still weird.
Absolutely. But Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP.
Oh, yeah.
He's had recent playoff success, and I think he's going to continue to build on that. So I'm going to say the AFC sans KC Chiefs. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think that the AFC is a stronger division. It seemed like that was definitely the case. Like, you couldn't even make an argument for the NFC last year. Higher ceiling for the AFC and higher floor as well.
Right.
The AFC was just better all around. But the NFC this year, I kind of we'll see what the Eagles can do. That's the team to me. Obviously the Niners are cool, but I think that the NFC currently, if I were to bet, I would bet on the Eagles being the NFC representative in the Super Bowl. I don't like it. I don't overly like the Eagles, but respect where it's due. Yep. I think that they've built a great team. We'll see what it's like with a rookie center, not a rookie center, just whoever is
a new starting center,
starting center from the last 12 years, so we'll see what it's like there. But I think it's the Eagles. I still think that you're right that Baltimore in this scenario would still edge out the Eagles, but I just don't think it's that far apart. You know, if I'm saying
No.
that the Chiefs are there, then I probably would just go AFC. Um, but I do think that the Eagles have a legit shot. So I'm with you there on the what's more likely that the non-Chiefs AFC team will win the Super Bowl.
And hopefully that's the
Yeah.
Chargers.
Hopefully it's just not the Chiefs again. The three-peat would just
No
nobody
three-peat.
wants to see it.
Nobody wants to see it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, moving on. I've got one
Okay,
for you here. Okay. Who gets paid first? Devonta Smith, a year early, it seems, just signed a new 3-year, $75 million contract. I think it was like $51 million guaranteed or whatnot. That was interesting to me, especially with some of these other receivers out there waiting for a contract
Yeah.
with JJ included, right? And so both of them didn't show up for voluntary
Yes.
workouts, right? Who gets paid first, though? We've already seen, Jamar Chase come out and talk about his contract situation, saying, well, like my boy JJ's got to get his contract first. We're waiting for those numbers before I step in. So he's obviously waiting to reset the market again.
Mhm.
But Ceedee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, drafted in the same year.
They have to get paid this year.
Ceedee Lamb at 17, JJ at 22.
Mhm.
So can you make the argument that that should be the order? Ceedee Lamb, he got drafted first. He should get the money first.
Maybe I wonder if just the situations that both teams are in, I wonder if that matters at all. Because the Cowboys are all in. They don't have a quarterback next year. We kind of don't either, I guess. But we are looking to get one in this draft. I don't know. So I definitely like. So what are the options here for the would you rather or the what's more likely? Just
So it's
CD?
yeah. What's more likely is JJ's getting paid first or Ceedee Lamb's getting paid first?
Well, they're gonna be 2 days apart whenever it happens, right? They're just sitting there like, what's he get? I want 1 million more. But I think that Ceedee Lamb will get paid first. I think that Jefferson has earned the right to wait it out as long as he can, and the team will do it whenever he wants it. You know what I mean? If he wants to wait, they'll
Hopefully.
definitely wait. Well, I don't think it's like there's just I don't believe that there's any truth to him not being on the team.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the sound of panic.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. No, I think that JJ will be paid second because he's earned a little more. Not that CeeDee Lamb hasn't, but the reality for the Cowboys is that he is like CeeDee Lamb. I don't know. I don't really have a good reason. I don't have a good reason. I'm talking, but I don't think I have a good reason.
So my reasoning, I think I agree with you in the order. I think CeeDee Lamb gets paid first. And I think it has to do with the fact that with Justin Jefferson's contract, they keep talking about the fact that he wants to get paid as more than just a wide receiver. Right? He is going to be the highest paid non-quarterback. Exactly. And because he is that important to the Vikings, and he would be that important to any team.
Yeah.
That would never ever have him on their roster.
Yeah.
But so that's my reasoning. That's my thought process, and why JJ's gonna wait a little bit. CeeDee Lamb, but I mean,
they might not really be conflicting contracts here or comparable contracts. If like you're saying, like he's looking at more than the wide receiver market. He's looking at more of a non-quarterback market.
CeeDee Lamb has been great over the last 4 years, but nobody would argue about the fact that Justin Jefferson has been better over the last 4 years, and that's with the injuries of last year. So That's what I'm looking at here.
Yeah.
But take a look at this. Is when we look at what Spot Track now, shout out to Spot Track, they do a great job when it comes to the salary cap
Estimating.
and some projections.
Yeah.
So the market value contract. So they have Justin Jefferson, Ceedee Lamb, and Jamar Chase here. They threw Jamar Chase in because who knows? Apparently 2021 wide receivers are getting contracts right now before 2020 wide receivers. So Justin Jefferson, market value, projected contract, 4 years, $117.6 million, which is an average salary of 29.4.
Mm-hmm.
So less than Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, but Tyreek's contract is a bunch of bull, right? Like it's not.
I get it, but I mean, this is just a very high level a view of this contract, right? It could be a bunch of bull. We all know that the numbers that come out aren't as truthful as it may seem.
Yeah.
But they've got Ceedee Lamb here, 4 years again at 115.4 million, which is 28.8, so it's about $600,000 difference. And then Jamar Chase, 4 year, 104.5 million at 26.1.
There's no way he's taking.
That's it. Well, right? You know, that's over 3 million. Over 3 million less than Justin Jefferson. I thought that number was interesting. Maybe because it's earlier. It's hey, you want the contract. Maybe that's what Devonta Smith. You wanted the. He's like, hey, 25 million a year is sweet. Like I can do so much with that. I don't need anything else. Let's guarantee it now, just in case there's an injury or anything.
I kind of like it. I kind of like his thinking. Like he may have lost out on money. Let's just be real. He may have lost out on money, but it's only a 3-year extension. So he'll hit the market again, very young, very able to get another big payday. And it's also actually a team-friendly deal, like hugely team-friendly. That's low on the market for like the top wide receivers of today. And this contract doesn't start for 2 years.
Yeah.
So in 2 years, 25 is going to seem like, oh, we got him for so cheap,
you
know?
For sure.
So
for sure.
I like
and
Devonta Smith contract.
Yeah, I think for both parties. Yeah. And we'll see how it plays out in a couple of years from now if the Eagles go on and win the Super Bowl and Devonta Smith is a big reason. Yeah. Couple of years, you know, we need to restructure. Yeah. I can see that conversation he potentially coming.
Kind of an off year this past, like he wasn't.
It was the whole Philly offense, though, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's true too. But yeah, he kind of fell off later in the year, and I remember some drops that he had and whatever. So it's still awesome to see that his value hasn't like tanked at all. Right. I would say he's an awesome wide receiver, but he's still wide receiver 2 on the team. Getting a contract of $25 million a year for 3 years, that's pretty good. And the 51 guaranteed is awesome as well. Like, good for that guy.
100%. Him and AJ Brown have $25 million a year, and I think they're ranked 4th and 5th in terms of average annual salary.
Okay.
All right, moving on. The next scenario of what's more likely.
Yes. Okay. So you already mentioned something similar to this guy earlier. I said this seems like it's far down the line, but what is more likely, the Chargers or the Bengals drafting? Okay, I should reword a little bit, but drafting or attempting to draft a franchise quarterback first. Which one of you is giving up on your guy first?
Whoa.
I guess as well, so I'll talk after you do.
So I think is it that second question that you just asked? You said which one is giving up, because which one is drafting the next franchise quarterback? There could be other scenarios why we would be drafting a quarterback. I mean, maybe one retires early. Because my first thought that came to mind was the Bengals. The Bengals are going to be the team that drafts their next franchise quarterback purposefully, like going after a guy, not I picked up somebody in the 6th round. Yes, exactly.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Because of Joe Burrow's injury history.
That's what I think too.
I think it might just take a toll. He's talking about how they're ready. They're built now to beat the Chiefs, which I think so. And if they can keep that gang all together, they could go in there. And if he wins the Super Bowl, he's like, hey, I did my job. I'm Joey Cool. Like I'm good to go and ride off into the sunset. I could see that happening. And some people may say, well, Justin Herbert, he's been injured too. The injuries that Justin Herbert has had aren't nearly as significant. Yes, the ribs a couple years back, absolutely. Obviously, you can't throw with one of your throwing hand fingers fractured, but he's played through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
He,
Until the season
and
was like over, basically.
yes, exactly. So that's my reasoning. What's more likely? The Bengals will be drafting their next franchise quarterback before the Chargers do.
Yeah. See, so I have like two separate thoughts, because it's just this started because I was thinking of a different question was, would you rather you guys draft JJ McCarthy and trade Justin Herbert and get a haul for him, blah 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 blah. But I thought that this was a fun thing because
Spoiler alert.
Joe and Herbert have, or Joe and Justin have like they've been compared so much because the same draft class and all that, everything that comes with that. So, I was leaning towards the injury history for Joe, and I was kind of curious. I didn't look it up, but like, how many years do you know? How many years Drew Brees was with the Chargers?
Drew Brees was drafted to the Chargers in 2001, and then left 2000. He was there about 5 years, I'd say.
Ooh, okay. And so, like that's kind of what I could possibly see happening with Joe Burrow is that, he's had some injuries, he's had some stuff, and then he just needs to kind of reset on a new team, you know? But
Right. I mean, I'd be happy if that was an NFC team.
yeah, but I could see something like that happening, like not necessarily his career coming to an end, and that's why the Bengals move on. It could just be like a choice that's made from the circumstances that are going on. But
Yep.
um, and then the argument for the Chargers would maybe be that, like, you guys have already cleaned house with your offense, and if you guys, maybe your organization, the franchise, um, they value Jim Harbaugh over your current franchise quarterback. So the team will be built through Harbaugh essentially in the future, and they could kind of reset at that quarterback position in the next couple of years to kind of get rid of the contract and stuff like that.
Right,
Um,
right.
Both of my scenarios aren't like 10 years down the line the Bengals are going to go first. It's more like 3 to 5 years down the line one of the teams could move on. That's what, obviously,
Right.
but
For
that's what
sure.
these two
For
scenarios
sure.
were. But I do agree that the Bengals, I think, would be the first to get another quarterback, which
And
is
watch in 9 days, Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers shock us all.
that'd be crazy, absolutely crazy.
Oh my goodness. That would be a wild, wild situation. But we won't put too much thought into that. Going into the next
Hmm.
scenario here. Now, this is a big one of what's more likely. In the next 5 years, the Chargers or the Vikings winning their first Super Bowl in franchise history. What's more likely, Brandon?
Oh,
Go ahead.
damn! I bet you I would have a better idea after this season. Just to
No.
know
This
if
is
we
year
have
one.
that quarterback or not, because you guys have that quarterback. I absolutely love our coach. I think that he's done lots of learning in the last two seasons. I think that he has more to learn, and he will. But I love the guy. I love the GM. I think our front office is crushing it, and we'll get to a point like that in the near future. But you guys have a proven, very, very proven head coach and a very, very, very good quarterback, which is what you need in this league to win. And oh, damn it. What a lame question. So lame.
And that's why I had to put the next
Ugh.
5 years.
Yeah, in the next 5 years, who's in a better position? Like, maybe in year 5, the Vikings might be in a better position. If we keep the same coach and he's become a great coach that we all hope and expect him to become. Whereas you, in the next 1 to 4, might be like, you know, you'll
Might win
you'll
the
know
Super Bowl.
What? Yes, you'll know.
We'll
what
win the
Harbaugh
Super Bowl.
is bringing to the team. His growth, like there won't. It just, you know, he's a veteran coach, a very veteran coach. He is what he is.
So all
He's here.
signs are pointing to you
All signs are
saying
pointing to the Chargers, but yeah, like I'm saying that maybe my coach could have a higher ceiling if he can keep growing, whereas Harbaugh might be more of a stagnant coach, which isn't bad because his level is so high. So I will.
stagnant seems pretty bad.
Well, no, stagnant at a
Steady.
great high level.
Steady.
Steady. Yes, exactly. A steady, high level coach. This sucks. Like, this sucks. It sucks that I would have to choose your team over my team. But in a non-homer way, I think that your team, you know, even though you have 0 receivers, is in a better position in the next 5 years. And I think that most people would agree. The franchise quarterback is too important. If by the end of this season we discover that we've got that guy, and you ask me this again next year,
If at the end of the season you have that guy, we can talk about it then. Because right now you said the Chargers, and I agree with you, Brandon. I agree with you. The LA Chargers are in a much better position in the next 5 years to potentially win that Super Bowl. For all of the reasons that you just mentioned, with the head coach pairing with the franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert. You know, I also think there's a little bit more to love where you know, we have some pretty good young pieces that we want to retain. You know, we edge rusher in Tuli Pelotu, you know, going into his second year there. You know, Jim Harbaugh has already left a huge impression on him. Asante Samuel Jr., you know, he's in a contract year right now. Fans love Asante Samuel Jr. Zant, you know, he plays big because he is one of the smaller corners. But going forward next year, the Chargers, Spot Track again has the Chargers at number 5 in terms of cap space available.
Nice.
With over $107 million. Obviously, there's only a projection on what next year's cap will be, so we don't know what those numbers are. But that's great. That's great. But to play devil's advocate a little bit here, there's only 4 teams in the league who could have a better cap position next year. Number 4, Washington Commanders. Number 3, Detroit Lions. Number 2, New England Patriots. The number 1 best situated position team in terms of cap space is Minnesota Vikings at $205 million. That is nearly $100 more million than the Chargers have to spend. So wild. Look out. If you get the franchise quarterback, look out next year. Boom. Excitement adding
all
to
the
the
free agents
fire.
want to come to us because we have the best facilities, the best coach, the best
Exactly.
everything according to those report cards. Ooh.
Yep. Ooh. The future.
I changed my answer.
The hope there. No, that's awesome. But there we have it. What do you think? If you're still listening to us, thanks again so much. Were we right? Chargers, Vikings. Who's situated going forward? Who's getting paid? JJ or Ceedee Lamb? Let us know in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, notification bell if you're enjoying what you're listening to right now. And we got to continue making these videos.